Welcome to The Close-Up, where we'll be exploring the psychology, physicality and preparation behind some of the biggest players in the game. First up, New Zealand star and North Carolina player, Abby Erceg. So Abby, we're here in Brighton. You've just finished a training session with the team. You guys looked super chill, turning up in flip-flops, very Kiwi of you. And we're going to start off with your career as a youth player. Is defending a position that you always wanted to play, or did you just fall into this position?
No, God, no. I don't think anyone's going to pick out wanting to be a defender from the go. You know, when you grow up, you see people scoring goals, and you want to be that person going to score goals. So I think as you grow, depending on how you develop, will determine if you're a defender or not. So I started out in midfield, was running around, loved it. Grew a lot in high school and kind of just got moved back slowly until I kind of found my place in the back line.
So it's been a really successul season for you. You were named Defender of the Year as well.
That season was spectacular. It was just record-breaking in so many ways. You know, we literally set every record we could. To be a part of that is a bit of a dream. That's something I will treasure for the rest of my life, regardless of what we achieve after that.
Did you always see yourself ending up playing in the States? Was that always like a dream?
No. So growing up in New Zealand, the main sport isn't soccer. We've got rugby and we've got netball. So girls growing up, we play netball and we idolise the netball players, and we don't see a lot of international soccer, especially on the women's side. So I didn't have anyone that I really looked up to and I was like, I want to be like this or I want to be like that. If anything, I was looking up to men, David Beckham, and maybe going to England or going to Spain where all the creative players are and all the flashy players. So my dream was to go to Spain.
So we're going to look through some positional play right now.
Okay.
Do you remember this game?
I do remember this game. I remember every game against Chicago.
Your positioning, you take the header and then you get straight back into position to cover your player.
Yeah.
Is this something you guys practice on the pitch regularly, or is this something that just for you has come naturally over the years?
Something like that is something you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you go up for that header and then not stepping up, you might keep everybody on side, and in and around the goal that close, that's where goals come from. So if you're keeping everyone on side because you've done this brilliant header and cleared it and you're kind of admiring it, you know, it puts everyone else in a bit of spot above. So that's come from some really, really tough lessons. So making sure that you do the first job might look great, but you've just got to get back into the line and make sure that everybody's on the same page, especially in and around the box.
So we're going to get on the field and you're going to teach me a couple of things about one-on-ones, because that's something that I struggle with personally.
Yeah.
As an attacking player, I end up on my arse most of the time. Ready to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
So what I would usually do with a striker coming in, obviously the objective is for you to get to goal.
Yep.
And I need to put myself between you and the goal. So the first thing I'm going to do when I come in is direct you away from the goal as much as possible. And then I want to get as close as I can without overcommitting.
Right.
So I want to get close enough where if you take a touch that's too big or goes the wrong way, I can get it, but not so close where you could push it past me and run. So at that point, I'm going to come in, slow down and get low so that if you change direction, I can change direction with you and take off as well.
Okay.
So it's going to look a little bit like this. So you're going to be running, I'm going to come in, slow down, get low, and then I'm going to run with you, keeping you away from the goal and towards the line.
So in terms of like body shape, like how are you pushing or shepherding this person away from the danger point?
Yeah, so obviously I don't want to come in square to the person that's dribbling in, because that's going to make it hard for me to change direction at speed. And you can also play the ball through my legs, which we don't want, and it's super embarrassing. So I want to come in side on, because that's going to give me the best position to move, but also to take off at speed. So if you push past me, I can push off with you, whereas if I'm square, it's quite difficult to turn, and I can get caught turning the wrong way a lot of the time. So I want to be square, and I want to be low so that I can react in time with you. Oh, that magic touch.
Big touch. So are there any sort of specific moments in your career or even in a game where you had a bit of maybe of a negative mindset and you had to overcome those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of sport though. You're not winning every single game. It just doesn't happen that way. You can be really dominant for periods, and you can be on the other side of that as well. And I've been on the other side of that, and it's really hard. You want to win everything, and when you don't, and when things don't go your way, or if you have an injury, or you've made a mistake on the field, it's quite a lot of work to pull yourself back out of that. And I think it does come with maturity as well, especially as a kid. I'd make a mistake and kind of fall into this trap of sulking for the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. And I had to do a lot of work actually with the sports psych to make sure that I got that part of my game right.
Did you learn any sort of specific mechanisms from the psych that helped you like bring yourself back into the moment rather than what's happened previously?
She often would just talk about a mistake that I'd make, and she'd relate it back to the team. So if someone else was making mistakes, would I think about it afterwards? And I would always say no.
Yeah.
You kind of just get on with the game. Yeah. And she kind of kept relating it back to that. And I was like, well, yeah, that does make sense. Like, nobody's looking at you. Nobody really cares. I think people care more about your reaction to a mistake or your reaction to whatever you've done in the game that's getting your head down. That, again, it does take practice. It's not just something that's going to happen. You kind of have this epiphany and you change everything. It takes a couple of years to really get through it. But yeah, she helped me out a lot, and I think it's really changed my game.
So we just watched a bunch of your slide tackles, and obviously going into those slide tackles, it's super physical. Is putting like your body on the line as well something that you like in your game?
You know, I think at this level, we've done it enough times to know what we're doing. It's just a matter of deciding whether or not it's the right moment to go into a tackle. And as a defender, I love going to ground. I love coming away with the ball, and I think it looks pretty cool sometimes, but it's not always the right option. So it's just deciding, should I go to ground? Should I not? Is it the safest option for myself and for the player that I'm playing against?
Are there any like key tackles or moments or blocks that you remember specifically where you were just like, that was a game changer, or that was a great decision that I made?
Yeah, we were playing, I think it was Mexico. One of the girls had given the ball away right on the edge of the box, and I had to make a flying sliding tackle to win the ball off her. And it was one of those ones where you can scoop it, she falls over, and you keep going. I will never forget. I actually loved like running over the ball. It was great, because that was for sure going to be a goal and it would have been game over.
So looking at the tackles that you've made, a lot of like strength and core strength comes into those tackles. How do you like build that into your gym sessions?
That's hard, because when I was growing up, the game wasn't as physical. The game wasn't as fast, and it wasn't a requirement for quite a lot of my career, and it hasn't been until the last sort of 5 or 6 years that I've really kicked it up. I've been to a couple of World Cups where I probably wasn't in the best shape I could have been, or I could have been in better shape in order to help my team. So I reflected quite deeply on that and knew that I had something more to give in the gym. And so that was a matter of lifting heavier, which has been something that I've really, really enjoyed. Big Olympic lifts, making sure I get really, really strong, especially in the lower body, especially in the core.
So I think you're going to show me a couple of gym sessions, which I'm slightly scared about.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, cool.
A lot of the work that I do is core work, and one of the fundamentals to that is the planks and the isometric holds. And the best thing about that is you don't need any equipment. You can do it at the hotel where we spend quite a lot of our time.
Cool. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
You're gonna adjust me, right?
Yeah. So basic plank, pretty simple. We'll start on our elbow. So you're gonna go down, elbows and toes on the ground, and you want to keep your back nice and straight. And this is the basic plank. Really easy. You can hold it for up to about 2 minutes. And then if you want to work everything, you can shift to the side as well. So you can do a side plank. And you want to, same thing, keep everything nice and straight, body nice and strong, keep your hips up. And this is going to work the sides of your core, which I use a lot for when I'm fighting people off. And same thing, hold it for a minute, 2 minutes if you can. Obviously do the same on the other side. Then to make it really hard, we can take points of contact off the ground. So you can lift arms off, and this really, really challenges your core.
Might fall on my face soon, but yeah. You score a lot of headers. We're going to watch a few right now. So these are a few of your goals. This one's via a free kick. Again, like, you must be a pretty good resource for goals when it comes to set pieces.
Yeah. Especially
given how short you are.
Yeah, I mean, my statures, it helps.
Literally just jumped like twice the size of my height.
It's just a matter of getting a good delivery when you've got height like that. We do work a lot on placement and making sure we get the ball down on certain free kicks, or if you're playing a certain keeper, you want to put it up high.
And most of these goals, you're coming in sort of from a distance. You're not just stood stationary.
Yeah, and I think that my physicality helps with that as well. Being strong, being on the run, I'm able to usually fend people off, and then my height kind of speaks for itself. I can just run onto a ball, and it's just a matter of directing it towards the goal.
All right, it's been a pleasure.
I loved it.
Thanks so much. All the best in the World Cup.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll be watching.